Hey, this is United in Green, back again for another week. Today we have our good friend Tyler, the creator. How you doing today, Tyler?
Doing well. It is a insanely rainy day here in Burlington, but other than that, things are great.
All right, and today we are without our good friend Will. We have another one of the boys, and unfortunately, he's a West Ham fan, but that's okay. We'll forgive him. He's been blowing bubbles for the past couple weeks here. Um, so welcome to Tyson. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. West Ham are still massive. Everywhere we go, West Ham are massive, as are the Green, up the boys.
All right. All right. So we have a couple games to talk about. I think we'll just touch on those briefly because you know we had the unfortunate circumstance of being in USL 2, where not all the teams are supported quite as well as our Vermont Green. So there were no live streams to watch. All we got were kind of the sideline videos that were coming from our videographers and the photography team at Vermont Green. But if you want Tyler to kick us off and tell us what you thought about our two matches against we had Boston and then we had Albany.
Yeah, the Boston match I think was a goal fest. What was the final score to that? Was it six?
6-0.
Yeah, and based on their previous games, that wasn't really a surprise. They struggle in general, and I think six goals was kind of in the realm of what I was expecting. Great to see some familiar faces scoring and to come away with the win with 3 points and a little boost to our goal differential. The Albany match was a tough one. I mean, again, hard to say having not seen it even on a stream. But it was scoreless going into the half. They're a tough team defensively, and to leave there with a 2-0 win is I think really big. They are not an easy team to score on. So great game, great to see Lane scoring, especially that just sublime back heel. That was awesome. That's got to be a USL 2 top goal contender for sure. And Nacho putting in the other one. It's just, right? Am I right in saying that? Sorry.
I
It was
believe
just,
so. Yeah.
yeah,
We're talking about Boston City. Yeah, it was Nacho.
about Albany, right?
Oh no, Albany was also was also Nacho, right?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he scores so frequently it's hard to keep track of which game I'm talking about when he's scoring. But no, I think a 2-0 win against Albany was great, and it puts us in a great position with a game in hand, looking at Western Mass coming in this weekend.
Yeah. I'm personally excited about this Mass game. I don't have as much kind of nervous anxiety that I had before Seacoast. Maybe because we got that loss out of the way, we got that tough game out of the way, and I think just the way that Western Mass has been playing is kind of their two wins in their last five, right? They have no losses, but those other games were draws against middling teams in our division. But getting back to kind of Boston City, that game, it seems like we tend to show up in the second halves of games
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's kind of like the feeling out process of the way that Adam's system works. They kind of feel out the game, let the game come to them. They play into the game without really having to be too horribly defensive and having to defend deep. But at the same time, there were following the Twitter feed, there were a lot of opportunities in Boston, both Boston and Albany, where we were banging goals off the woodwork, or goals or shots that were going just wide. I mean, I know Bilal had a few shots that were just wide in the Albany game in the very beginning, but we've been showing up in the second halves of games. And even in our friendly, we showed up in the second half, the friendly we had against Kingston Stockade, which was also a super fun game to be at. But I mean, do you have any thoughts or any of that on those two games, Tyson?
Well, I do feel like one of the big tenets this year in terms of the way that the Green are playing is it's a very high pressing, controlling the midfield, getting onto second balls, making sure that if they're trying to go over the midfield, that our defenders try and win that ball and, lay it off to the second man. And I think very much that, talking about how much we seem to dominate in the second halves, I really do feel like a lot of that comes from putting in all that pressing effort and grinding through that first half. We're wearing teams down, and then we're able to figure out how they're defending, play that, that through ball from the wing, from like Messer, DRB, and Zenge, whoever's out there. And, the strikers are knocking them in. And, I do think that there may have only been, like one or two games in the league where we have scored first. I'm thinking of, DRBN scored that 3-minute goal against Seacoast. And then, maybe in some of the 6-0 shellackings that we've had, I still think that we've only scored one or two goals in the first period or first half. So I just really think it's a matter of just grinding teams down. I think that that's been a real tenet of how we've been playing.
Yeah,
The possession and the patience, I think, that can be hard for teams, but the results speak for themselves. And I think, whether it's a 6-0 win or a 2-0 win, it's this system works. And defensively we're just amazing. I mean, we've had nothing but clean sheets except for the Seacoast game, and that makes it seem even more like just an abnormality in this season, right? Like that we we coughed up 3 goals. They were sloppy goals, but we, even in that game, we had the majority of possession, the majority of second balls, and I think just dominance in the midfield. And there were 3 bad goals that we coughed up, and that was it. And so there's like a really nice patience to the whole system, and there's also apparently obviously like a deep trust that the players have, and sort of like not getting anxious, not getting trying to push things too much, knowing that somebody's going to convert, somebody's going to come through. And when you have the possession and you have the chances, like it's the season has sort of proven it's just a matter of time.
I totally agree. These games that we've been playing, we need, this league is so tough, and and obviously it's so diverse. There's friggin' 325 teams, I think, in the league. It's so, like I said, it's so tough and so diverse. There are teams that are coming from metro areas, there are teams that are coming from rural areas, kind of like rural areas like ours, and or outside of like large city areas. And because of that diversity, it makes it imperative to go out there and win those games that you should be winning. Those games against the Albanys and the Boston Cities and the Boston Bolts, like in our division, especially because any one of 4 teams can be at the top, right? And right now we're looking at a spot where Vermont Green is sitting even on points with a game in hand on the team we're playing this weekend. So you can kind of look at that and say we can end up with a 6-point swing in either way, in either spot, depending on how today turns out. It's just wild how this league can flip on its head. It happened last year. We were sitting in 4th and 5th, and then 4th and then 5th, and then we sat in 4th for a little bit of time, and then started to work our way up, and pushed and shoved and clawed our way to the top 3, and luckily we made it into the playoffs by beating this Western Mass team in the last game of the season. I think that this weekend is going to be very, very telling about how the rest of the weekend, the rest of the season is going to go. I mean, sorry about that.
No. I mean, I completely agree with you. I've really kind of got nothing but fond memories of playing against Pathfinder, obviously because of how last season ended, just being able to have that party, have the flares, everyone just, partying their faces off. But, this is probably, aside from, like we've been saying, aside from Seacoast, this is, one of the teams we've got to beat if we are going to stake a claim to really be in the hunt for the playoffs or to really solidify a spot in pole position in our division. And, I've got the standings pulled up right here. Seacoast has still only played 4 games.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have, 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, goal differential of 1. So they're not scoring a lot, but their defense is mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did that to us. They kind of sat back and, once they took that lead, they sat back and defended and just popped balls over the top and counterattacked us. And
yeah,
it's not an easy way to go when you're in a league and you're in an attacking type of system in a high pressing kind of system like we have in Vermont. I'm looking at the stats here right now. Western Mass has some serious players on their team. One of them being Alec Hughes. He's an electric goal scorer. He's got 6 goals in the season. I mean, and that's not to slough off our very own Nacho, who's got 5 now, right? And these kids, they come from all over the place. Western Mass, Pioneers has their own youth system. A lot of these kids come up through the youth system. They're also dragging out kids from other colleges, just like Vermont, and recruiting and doing what they can. They have a good product that they put on the field there. They play heavy with wings. Their wingers are always very very active in the game. They play a similar pressing type of system that we play, but they tend to be a little more defensive through the midfield. They use their midfielders a little more defensively than most teams. And that's not to say that we don't, because we do have Musa back there who's basically an extra center back or a fullback. Who can play the ball, and he can play defensive, and he's good on the ball. He turns really well. He's quick to recover when losing the ball in the midfield. But I mean, do you guys have any reservations? Do you have any thoughts about this game? I mean, do you think what are your kind of predictions going into the game? I'm not asking for a final score or anything like that. Let's not get crazy, because I think we did that at Seacoast, and
I mean, sure. I said 3-1 for the Seacoast game. I didn't specify 3-1 for in direction. So, I mean, we talked about this in past episodes, but it's such a funny league because it's so hard to tell from season to season what to expect, because you don't know who's coming back necessarily. You don't know when they're coming back. You don't know who's coming in. So it's really just, it's almost like you have a general sense of maybe how programs are sort of based on like a longer trend of, past 5 or 6 years, and you can sort of, predict that Seacoast and Western Mass are going to produce something pretty worthwhile, a pretty worthwhile team from season to season. But beyond that, it's not like you're facing, 8 of the same starting 11 from the last time you played them. And it's really interesting to me that that has to be one of the biggest challenges of USL 2 as a coach or as a club, to be constantly having to like almost restart or reshuffle the deck, restart your team, reshuffle the deck from game to game, season to season, year to year. And we're still waiting. We just had an influx of new players who are going to be amazing, but we haven't seen them live, and but they're going to bring a whole other element to the team, and that's exciting. But will totally change the dynamic, um and by the end of the season they'll be like a slightly different team. So it's just this constant evolution. And as a coach or as somebody who's running one of these clubs, like you may have some people return or some people make it through the whole season, but you're kind of just, it seems like a real challenge at other levels and other leagues don't face. So, credit to anyone who can sort of string together more than one or two good seasons. So yeah, Western Mass are going to be good. I think that's a safe prediction that they're going to be one of the top three teams. As to how good they are and how they'll approach our game, it's hard to say. And I think on the flip side, we have some really amazing new players which came in. I heard Felipe is just fantastic. Nate Jones has apparently been like electric in practices, and not to mention the existing talent that we have. But I don't know what we're bringing to the table going in the other direction. So it'll be a good game, I guess, is my my super lame and loose prediction. It'll be like these are two division winning contenders meeting up. So it'll be a good game.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that I echo a lot of the points that Tyler raised, in that, the volatility of, all of these teams kind of season to season. We just really have to, keep on trusting Coach Pfeiffer, the system that he has kind of put together, that he's running. We have a ton of talent. We have a ton of great players who want to come and play for us because of the experience that we can give them. They're getting top coaching from, Pfeiffer. We're putting them in good positions to, get good minutes and play in front of a great crowd. And, Western Mass has that too. They, in order to be as consistently good as they have been, you've got to have good coaching. You have to have a good system. With so many players coming in, coming out, I, agree with Tyler that a lot of it is down to how well you can just get a group of players who, may have met each other a week before that first game, and really get them to mesh, get them to understand where they're going to be on the pitch, and, just kind of vibe together while they're out there. And you're not going to do that if you don't know what you're doing. So it's going to be a good game against the Pioneers.
I want to echo that too. But it's a lot of it has to do with the coaching. You coach, you have Coach Pfeiffer out there leading the troops, but behind the scenes, you got a great goalkeeping coach and Joey. Coach Stage is a fantastic young coach who is taking over for Coach Pfeiffer at Norwich. You can't miss Ruben and Coach Taylor as well. So I mean, we have a coaching staff that's able to get these young kids, coming out of colleges and different parts of the world and different systems to come together and actually the coaching staff has been great to, like you said, assimilate them and get them all on the same page really quickly. It feels to me like these past few games, albeit against lower tier teams, it's like they've been playing together for years. Now to get kind of toward what Tyler was mentioning, we had a couple new players join us this week. One is Felipe D'Agostini, and then the guy that I was touting early on, Nate Jones, the big man from Washington. On my limited YouTube research, we don't have enough money here at United and Green to have a crack research team for us. So I had to go onto YouTube and do my research, and it was tough to find the clips. But Nate Jones is an electric player, and if you can say like electric about a center back, I mean that says a lot. I mean he's He's great with the ball at his feet. He's super press resistant. He's super tall.
I would say imperious. He is
Imperious.
imperious with the
That's
ball.
the chosen word for center backs is imperious. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to get away from the traditional wording. Also, I couldn't bring that word out of my brain.
There you go.
But
I mean,
he's fun to watch. I mean, he demands your attention when he's out there because he has such a presence on the field. But like kind of one of the big things that's kind of overlooked is the press resistance of the center backs that we have. And Nate's no exception. He's probably going to be the big cog in the wheel for for our defense this season. And after hearing that he's been training super well and he had a great appearance in the game the other day, I'm super excited to get out there and watch him this weekend. I hope to get out to training tomorrow morning to check it out, but we'll see.
how important do you think, and just thinking about sort of like year to year, like, I was there for the first practice this year and it was sort of blown away by the skill level and also sort of the level of cohesion even early on. I mean, how important do you think returning players are to this? I mean, obviously the coaching is essential and it's super high level and we're really lucky to have the staff that we have. And the systems in place. We talked to Sam McCann earlier and he said that it seems like the system is the same from last year and just there's like a good structure and framework there. But I'm thinking about sort of like the Ashfords and the Messers and the Pacellas and the Bilals of the world. Like, how important do you think those returning players are for keeping the success momentum going for the team? Like like in my mind, it's just like they're like the sophomores on campus who are like, hey, freshmen, like here's the general look and feel of things, and here's how you do it. And like, for a system like Seacoast or Western Mass where they've had years and years to sort of like have that institutional knowledge develop, like it makes sense. But for us being a second year and already sort of hitting our stride, it seems like the returning players are a big part of that, right?
I mean, I don't think that kind of influence can really be understated. I mean, even, I was going to say, not only are they providing that kind of institutional knowledge of like, this is how we play, this is how we train, this is what to expect. I truly do think that the returning players that we have also are a huge recruiting tool for the team. Players like, Nate Jones, getting them over here from, the entire other side of the country, that's not going to happen if, they're not, I'm sure that anyone who has ever looked at coming to Vermont Green has wanted to speak to players who were there last year and who have made the decision to come back again. And I'd have to imagine that plays a huge part in anyone wanting to come here. I mean, I don't want to say even players like Sam McCann, playoff legend, cult hero of the green, he has come in off the bench a couple of times this year, but he is always out there. He's always grinding. He shows that dedication to the team. And, that has to be an influence to anyone else who's coming in, seeing how hard he works, everything that he did last year, from leaving in an ambulance off the field to scoring those goals in the playoffs. Like, having people there to kind of bed in all of these new players is invaluable.
Yeah,
I think in the case of Sam McCann, like, it's always important whether you're playing, 60 to 90 minutes a game, or you're just a squad player. In the case of Sam, it's important to have somebody like you said that knows the system, that has been there, and he's been there in the big spots and he's been there in the low spots. I think it's sometimes understated how big like the quote unquote clubhouse guy is. he's not just another player who was here last year. He was not just another player who was putting in performances for us last year. 8 out of 10 performances, 9 out of 10 performances every time he was out on the field. He is a guy who will befriend you in a second. He's got great personality. He's funny. He's good to talk to. He's super, super knowledgeable. And like the clubhouse guy is always such a big deal. I mean, you see it in all sports, in baseball, like
Mark Noble.
Noble. There you go. And you have
at the end of his career, current director of football operations, club legend.
Right. I mean, it happens in baseball. You had a guy, the 2013 Red Sox, who weren't supposed to do anything. Johnny Gomes, he was that clubhouse guy. I think they were all clubhouse guys in that team, but like that's a serious thing. And in the case of Sam, like he is an invaluable, part of this team. He's a major piece in that puzzle.
It speaks to like the larger, just like, in thinking about pitching to potential players to come join the team for the summer. I mean, it's real. I mean, I would imagine that going into season 2, the process was a heck of a lot easier because you have returning players who can speak to like the quality of the coaching and the playing and the, just the training and what you leave with in that regard. There's the fact that, like, not to pat ourselves on the back here, but the fan turnout and support is like unmatched in our division, and I'd argue in almost all of USL too. So there's just like, you're playing in front of people who really are behind you, who care about the team, care about the results. And then there's just a larger community of people who support the team. Like the number of times I've gone into Vivid Coffee and seen like Ian chatting with players hanging out there, folks just connecting with like guys from the squad just out and about in Burlington, connecting with the community. It's just the overall experience for a summer as like a young player is just phenomenal, and everybody benefits. It's just like there's like this nice network effect of everyone getting something from being part of the team, from the players to the fans. So it's not surprising to me that we've pulled in such a great squad of new players, and also that so many people have come back for second year. But and I would imagine it keeps getting easier and easier and better year over year as you can show, hey, it's their 5th season of being a phenomenal club with phenomenal results.
Absolutely. We are coming up on time here, but I could spend all day talking about this stuff. I know that we had missed kind of the guy who was kind of becoming our talisman, Gavork. It was missing the past couple of games, but we, if any of you guys out there had noticed, any of our viewers or listeners had noticed that, we have assurances that he will be back this weekend. And he'll be with the club, and he's going to be he'll be streaking down that left side, making everybody excited, because you want to talk about electric. That dude has it all, man. And we can't wait to see him back out on that pitch this weekend, and hopefully maybe pumping in 1 or 2 goals for us.
We're really spoiled for attacking talent at this point.
It's insane.
Like Nacho and Tejas, and like Dylan Lane's really coming into his own. And it's just, we have a super sound defense and a strong midfield, but once we start heading in the other direction, it's awesome.
Tyson, I want to ask you before we get to closing thoughts here. If you were gonna, I think we talked about this on our first pod together, but if you're gonna get a name on the back of a shirt, with this club, who is your guy? Who do you support?
Who from the green?
No. Well, we know you got Kurt Zuma shirts, so you're gonna have to burn your Declan Rice shirt in a minute. But
we'll see. I never ever get a Premier League jersey that has a name.
I made that mistake.
Everyone moves. aside from like, Mark Noble, he's company man for like 15 years. I mean, I know I keep on harping about him, but I mean, everyone leaves. It's a inevitability of the profit-driven and player power that is within the Premier League. Support your team, enjoy the players that they have. I hope that Arsenal enjoys Declan Rice. I love him for the past couple of years that he has been with West Ham. But, hopefully we are able to actually get a striker. And much as I love Michail Antonio, he's 33 years old and he scored 5 league goals for us last year.
Yeah.
And we can't have that. We need some striking talent. We need some reinforcements in the midfield, but hopefully we're able to invest that well. But no name on the back of the jersey. Never.
So okay, now Vermont Green. Let's do Vermont Green.
Jake Ashford. Give me El Capitan.
Yeah.
Captain Jake will get you high tonight. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah, I'm with you on the name thing. I've only sprung for one name jersey, football jersey, and I feel like it's the Mark Noble of my club. It was the Jordan Henderson, number 14, a company man, 13 years at Liverpool. Just he's not a glamorous player. He's not going to score a lot of goals. He just is there and is fully committed in a way that doesn't always get recognized and often gets criticized. So I'm with you in that regard. Ashford's an excellent choice. I think I'm not sure what the Vermont Green equivalent is of a Mark Noble or Jordan Henderson because we're in our second season. Pachella might be a good choice. He just got that grinded out, hard running, sort of like Messer. 6 or 8 sort of vibe, or Messer, man, but I'd be happy wearing any of these dudes' names on my back. It's just a super team to watch this season. And
they're all great people. We got to talk to Nate Messer at the friendly the other night, and he was up in the stands, and it was super nice to see a lot of those guys, first team, first squad guys come out and support the the not necessarily all second choice guys, but the younger guys and the guys who will be coming back next year out there. It's really great, and it's a really great friendship that to see that these guys are out there supporting each other. For me, it's still Zach Zenge. I love that guy. I love how it seems that no matter what he's doing on the field, especially with the ball at his feet, every single picture I've seen of him on the field, he never looks like he's working hard. He always looks like he's smiling.
Yeah.
I love that in a player, man. It means that he's having a good time out there. It means that he knows in his head, hey, guess what? I'm going to beat you right now. And that's kind of what I love in a player. I'd probably still get Zach's name on the back of my shirt. Gavork is another one that it's the same. I love his celebration. I love him standing in front of the stands with his arms folded. That's something that I'll never forget too. Like that goal against Seacoast was one of the most outrageous things I've ever seen live.
It was a beautiful goal. It was a very, very nice.
Yeah, totally. Now for Spurs, if I'm going to go Spurs, I made the mistake of doing the Højbjerg after his first season. He was shut down under Jose.
Everyone's shut down under Jose. That's
the system, right? Yeah.
You're parking the bus, and everybody on the bus is parked. So
right, yeah. So I think I would have to go. Warts and all, club legend Lucas Moura. No, I'm kidding. He is a club legend. One night in Ajax, but probably Harry Kane. Son would also be a good shout. Gareth Bale is always a good shout. Those are guys who are fully coys, and on the back end of that, you always have to give respect to Coco out there, Eric Lamela, and he's still out there doing it. Mm-hmm. So those are my guys. Coco's a shithouser, and I love that.
Are you already prepped for Harry Kane to go to Madrid next year?
if we can get
They've
100
already splurged on Bellingham. They've already bought Bellingham this year. So it's not going to be.
if they can get 100 million for him, sorry, I love you, Harry. You're going to have a statue someday. But if they can get 100 million,
no,
I don't think Harry Kane will go though. I don't think he wants to.
Busy stretch here. We have Western Mass Pioneers on the 17th, Boston Bulls on the 21st, AC Connecticut on the 24th, all home games. Gentlemen, any predictions for one or all of these games?
I will do one prediction, and that is going to be against the Pioneers. I think it is going to be a cagey game. The Pioneers, they haven't been scoring a lot recently since their 10-0 drubbing of Boston at the start of the year. I think it is going to be a very close one. I think it is going to be 2-1 Vermont Green.
I like it. Puppy?
I'm not doing a prediction for this game. My bravado kind of got ahead of me in that Seacoast prediction.
Fair enough.
I think Tyson's right. I think it's going to be like he said, cagey. I think it's going to be physical, and I think that there's going to be a lot of attacking. And folks out there in listener land, pay attention to this game because there's going to be a lot of action in this game. Neither one of these teams like to let the ball pass their midfield third. They just don't like to do it, and I think that it's going to lead to a lot of clashes, big clashes in the midfield and in the defense. And I think there are going to be a lot of chances on both sides. Luckily, we have a keeper like Schnurr, who I'm expecting will probably get the start, but
it's going to be a wet one. It's going to be a rainy day
at
this point, which is unfortunate, but I feel like that will also affect the overall pace of things, and the just physicality of the game will be escalated because of that. So I'm gonna go. I feel like it's either gonna be like a 2-0 Vermont Green win or a surprising like 3-2 win. I feel like there's like not a whole lot of space in between. So
there's not a lot to work off of to see how resilient this team is, other than the fact that like they have been second half team.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have to show us as fans that they can take a punch and come back from that. And the only game we have to work off of like is Seacoast, unfortunately. They're the only team we've conceded to.
Yep.
So I mean, we'll see what happens going forward. Those other games, AC Connecticut, it's our only game against them for the second year in a row, and I don't understand why. We have another one is Pathfinder this year that we have one game against. So
too, maybe.
that's
rule.
That's the lay of the land, right? Like that's what we get. We have a short season. You always play, a couple of teams only one time, but
I'll take only one match against Pioneers if we were playing the Boston teams twice.
Those are games you have to win.
Yeah.
You have to win all of those games outside of Seacoast and Western Mass. You have to win all the games. The other games you can draw, but you have to win those games, and you just can't lose. It's like NCAA football. You lose a game, it's tough. It's going to be tough. So better to lose your game early on this season, find out your faults, and then move forward. So those are my final thoughts. You guys got any final thoughts?
Tyler, you look pensive.
No final thoughts. I think it's gonna be a good run of games, and I think it'll be an interesting stretch to see the new players integrate into the team and figure out where they sort of fit into the overall scheme. And I think there's been like a really nice rotation going on from game to game with folks getting in and out and seeing a nice mix of players. So I'm really excited to see the new players, and this could be a really good 3-game homestand. So see you guys at our rainy Virtue Field on Saturday. Up the green.
Sure. Come on, you boys in green.
And I always end with my one send off, and tonight I'm gonna go with two send offs. The first one is going to be Dan. Thank you for the delicious Pacifico that you left in my cooler. That really helped me through this podcast. Not that it was tough with these guys, but the other is it's tough out there, everyone. So let's just go out there and be safe and up the green.
I thought you were telling me to grow a beard.
Yeah, I know. Right now you're the odd one out. Usually, when
You really are.
I don't. I feel really out of place.
The thing is, I don't think Will can grow a beard. I don't think it's possible for him. So,
or if he could grow one, you wouldn't be able to see it.
he's
That's
like a
fair.
small child.
Yeah.
But be safe, everyone.